Good morning. Hi, everyone. That's not the right button. That's the right button. I would have guessed this was Sonic music. I couldn't place it. Yamadorgan says, how are you today? I'm good. I hope you guys are all doing well. Those of you who are at MegFest, and I know I saw at least 4 names I know. Hope you guys are having fun. Choo choo. There's a train. I made El Pastor tacos last night, and they were spicy. Steven filmed a vlog, so there will be a vlog on it. But we're working on this today. This chair sometimes collapses on me, and I had a fear for a second it was going to. So there's some clouds that sit here in the photograph I took. So my thought today, and I thought about this like in the background of my life, which is fun that that happens, that I don't really have to devote time to thinking about it. It just kind of happens. Like when I'm driving or whatever, I was like, I think I should paint clouds, because I was going to do it after I finished doing more of the mist layers. And then I can do more mist layers and it'll soften the clouds, so they look like they're part of it. And I was like, I should do that. I also thought that I should do another row of the hill, the next like little foothill here, because if I do that and then put mist over that and the Mount Fuji layer, it will soften that layer to the Mount Fuji layer. Radio Jensen, can we show off your gorgeous tacos? Yeah, do you want it in mod? Or are you just gonna take it from Instagram? Jed Chet says, if you made them, couldn't you regulate the pepperoni meter? Yes, and next time I make them, I will be doing so. Because one of the ingredients was a can of chipotle peppers and adobo. And one of the comments of the recipe was like, they're in queue? Okay. Was like, if they're spicy, don't put as many chipotles in. And I thought, how hot can that be? And the answer was hot. But they turned out very good. They had a really great flavor. And the pineapple is my favorite part. The pineapple was really good. I do wish I would have chopped the pineapple smaller. Where was my invitation? It was date night. And since we bought a house, we've been doing less date nights out and more date nights at home. And the chipotles weren't really like on it. They were in the marinade. Yeah, we did El Pastor tacos, and then we watched the last 3 episodes of season 4 of Stranger Things. So we are ready to start season 5. We were gonna watch a movie, but I was like, I'm so invested in this right now. So we watched 3 episodes, and some of them are 2 hours long. Anyway, that vlog will be up at some point, and if you like El Pastor, you should make them. But if you cannot handle spicy, keep some of those chipotle peppers out. The adobo is important, but the chipotles are where the heat's coming from. And I want to tell the story because I don't think I got to tell it on the vlog. I went to El Toro, which is the Mexican grocery store in Raleigh. I think it's in Garner, technically. Anyway, there was at least 2 ingredients I knew I couldn't get at like Food Lion or Publix or whatever. There was like a dried pepper that I've never seen before, and then I never took Spanish, so I'm going to butcher all the pronunciations. Achiote paste. And I was like, I'm never gonna get these. And yeah, I could like order them online. but Purple Bike Friend, the one I painted the fender for, spent a lot of his life in Texas and was like, go to El Toro. They have the best tortillas. They fresh make them there. And he's like, they're the best I found in Raleigh. Achote? Is that better? So I went there and I was looking at the tortillas on the shelf and I was like, this isn't what he was talking about. He was saying something about a cooler. And like, I'm looking in the like industrial grocery store cooler behind me and there's like some tortillas there. And I'm like, none of this seems right. Like, this isn't what he was talking about. So I'm kind of looking around and I see another customer open a giant cooler, like the kind you'd take to the beach, and pull out a pack of tortillas. And there was like 4 of these giant like beach coolers. And I was like, that's where they are. So I walk over and I open one because none of them are labeled. And there's all these tortillas in bags. And they say like tortillas calientes. Caliente? And I was like, hot. And I reached and touched one. And I was like, why does it say hot? And then it occurred to me that they're all fresh, hot, like temperature to touch. I thought they were being kept refrigerated in the cooler. So I was surprised they were warm. But they were like pleasantly warm. Yeah, that was nice. So I got those tortillas. And then I found the achote paste pretty easy. I walked some aisles and I knew it was in like a little box, like about this size. And I found it and I was like, okay, I got that. And then I had to find this dried pepper. And I walked all the aisles and then I could see like past the last aisle was produce. And I'm like, well, it's a dried pepper. It's not in the produce. So I walked back through the aisles again and it's not that big of a store, like smaller than a Trader Joe's. And I'm not finding it. And then finally an employee stops me and he's like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah. And I show him on my phone the recipe. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. And Dream, that's exactly what it is. Wajido? Anyway, I said it poorly. And he said it in Spanish and corrected me. And I was like, yes, those. And he goes, you know where our bakery is? And I was like, I didn't know you had a bakery. And he's like, well, go past produce. There's a bakery and that's where the dried peppers are. Guajillo. And I walked over there and there's this massive wall of dried like peppers and things. And I was like, found them. So that was very fun for me because I've never been in any sort of like Hispanic grocery store. I knew we had a few in Raleigh. I've been into an Indian grocery store. I've been into Korean with H Mart. I've been into Japanese ones. We have 2 Chinese grocery stores. And there's a Polish one, but that closed and I'm really sad about that. So that was very fun. I wish I had had more time to walk through the bakery and look at what they had there, but it smelled incredible in the bakery section. Anyway, so I made El Pastor last night and I had to make the marinate the pork overnight, and then last night we cooked it and toasted the tortillas and like chopped up cilantro and white onion. Hi Slick Duke. Hi Magfest people. So yeah, that was very fun, but I had somewhere to be after, so I didn't get to hang out and like look at the bakery. So another time I'll go and look at the bakery. Maybe if, I don't know, Chaz and Jeff or Haley or someone wants to go take a ride out there with me, we'll go there and we'll go to there's a European one out in Cary. We'll go to that one. There's a new sake thing open at some point out in Cary apparently. Go there. My favorite are the pigs. They're molassesy. Pigs what? Lunar Pro says Mexican bakeries are dangerous. Everything is delicious. I have had something from their bakery. I was at Bike Friend's house watching the Abu Dhabi Formula One finale, and he had gone to that grocery store, picked up tortillas so he could make breakfast tacos, and he brought back pastries from the bakery. Oh, they're cookies? Okay. Gingerbready, but not? Okay. Mabranitos? I said something in the recipe when I was talking to Steven about it, and he's like, you pronounced that with a Japanese accent. And I was like, oh, I love that. Wonderful that I tried that. It's the way my brain started to pronounce it. Cool. All right, I've drank most of this coffee, and I have alerts to read and a painting to work on. I'm good with phonetics without the phonetic alphabet. Yeah, see, sometimes my brain's like, I'm trying to say something and I only know like this much of a few languages. It's like fluent in English. I know probably the most Japanese after that, and then French, and then German, and then Polish, and then like Spanish. F1 on George Car stream wasn't on my bingo, especially in January. I don't follow it. I used to watch stock car racing with my dad a little bit for oh, it's not called Winston Cup anymore. It hasn't been Winston Cup in 20 years. That I used to follow that with my dad. Yeah, Japanese is the one I know best after English, and I am not fluent in Japanese. I am not even conversational in Japanese, so my knowledge of... Is it NASCAR Cup Series now? But my knowledge of Japanese is like, I can kind of follow some conversations a little bit. Is it just NASCAR? There used to be two. There used to be Winston Cup, and then there used to be like the other, like, next lowest tier down. I mean, Formula One was interesting. The bike people who were there to watch it told me all of the drama that was going on with it. Chess says, none of these are real racing, which is Indy cars, so it doesn't really matter. Spot the Hoosier. I had gone to I believe it was Formula One. It was Road America in Wisconsin when I was in middle or high school. And we were like on the corner of the track, and so we could only really see that single corner because everything else was in the woods. And I was like, this is neat, but it's not as good as like watching it on TV where you can see all of it. Funny car drag racing. Alright, cleaned off my palette. So things on my palette. I just cleaned it off so you don't see what I just cleaned off, but my base layer for Mount Fuji is ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. So I've been mixing those, and we're going to get into a more saturated version of that as we get into the foreground and the water. But I'm taking that and I'm using more burnt sienna to make it as desaturated as I can. And then mixing it into white, which is this. And this is my Mount Fuji layer. Actually, I used this and then I used... No, I used this and then I used this to do some of the snow. And then I used a little bit more white. And then I used a transparent white to do this mist. So we're going to do less and less burnt sienna, less and less white as we get to our foreground, because we're doing atmospheric perspective where like the atmosphere and the clouds are pushing things back. So when that happens, things get, in the background, they get desaturated and they get less detailed and they get lighter because the clouds in the atmosphere are pushing them back visually. So we're using less white and less burnt sienna in our ultramarine blue. So there'll be a lot more ultramarine blue in this water when I finally get to the water. The water will be the very last thing we do. At some point I may just do a blue wash so it's not skewing my view of the color, because right now that brown is really confusing. Are you limited to this palette of color? Kit Collide asks. I wasn't really planning on that, but we seem to have gotten here. Did I do swatches? Are these my swatches? Yeah, these are my swatches. Yeah, we're basically limiting ourselves to ultramarine burnt sienna. Did I put a red in this? I don't think I did. I don't have any red out. This was before Christmas, I don't remember. I might have. I used Hansa Yellow. So Hansa Yellow, Ultramarine Burnt Sienna. And there's a little bit of Dogzine Purple in the Hansa Yellow to make it less intense. So there's a little bit of that. So it's pretty limited. There was a painting I did that's pink and purple, and it was based on Pokemon, and it does like a this directionally. I don't remember the name of the painting or what the name of the route was, but it was a route from south of Pallet Town. That one was a limited palette painting, and it turned out really pretty. And this is kind of doing the same thing with these soft colors, and it reminds me of that in just a color standpoint. Anyway, we have a 34-month resub at Tier 2 from Radio Dread, 30 months from Moonlit Boulevard, 10 months from Lord Andy, 28 from Charlotte Dante, 22 from Soph Chi, and 10 months from Haley92. Thank you all for being here this morning, and for the MagFest people for tuning in, even though you should be having fun at MagFest. I'm going to mix up my next color, paint that. No, I'm going to do the clouds first, because if I'm working down, then this isn't drying when I'm trying to paint the clouds, and my hand isn't going to get in it. Clouds, hill, more mist, and we'll see where that takes us. Clouds first. Are you titanium white or zinc white? I have a little bit left on my palette from last week, and I don't remember. How opaque are you? You are very opaque. All right. You are titanium white then. iPad, are you dead? No. Okay. So the clouds kind of sit here. Route 21? Yeah, that must be it. Is it pink and purple, Kit? This paint has gotten really thick since last week because it's been sitting on my palette wrapped under plastic wrap. Which is kind of nice for these clouds, to be honest. Yeah, very pastel? Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. This reminds me of that. Thank you, Starlina. I'm very happy with how it's turning out. It's really looking pretty. I just have to try and ignore the brown because it's throwing me off visually. But once I get more layers in, that'll be easier and easier to do. I'm just trying to bring a few layers into this background as I work this way. I like how that looks a lot. Okay, cool. We'll move right. Honest Gamer says, hi, is this acrylic? It is acrylic. It is golden acrylic. So now we're gonna come over here. And then this cloud is a little bit more wedge shaped. But I don't know if I want to do that because it isn't as pretty as these guys over here. So we're gonna kind of keep it both, I think. Yeah, that looks way better. Glad I didn't make it wedge. Paint with acrylic, I do movie scenes. Cool. Very neat. There's a lot of really neat movie scenes using different color that some cinematographers are really good at. I am destroying this brush. That's okay. It's a cheap one. I'm pretty sure these are like meant for like classrooms or kids, but I really like these clear handle brushes. I am getting a little too regular in clouds. They're looking too mathematical and less nature, so we're gonna fill that in. Uniform, that's a great word, Crescelium. Thank you. We have a 33-month resub from Jet Prower. Uniform is the perfect word. Pretty sure that there's a hill right here and you won't see any of these. That's okay. There's also a bristle in the paint right here. All right, I scratched it out and we're just gonna cover it up with a cloud. Okay, that looks fine. Now, next layer. Let's zoom out on the photograph. So the next hill I have is one over here, and it kind of ends right about here. And this one is also very faded, just like the base of Mount Fuji, which is why I wanted to get that in next. I'm also kind of realizing the photograph is very gold, and I'm kind of regretting not doing that, but like we do sometimes, we can always do a gold wash at the end, which we've done in the past. The drop painting where I had done the grass with the raindrops on it, I think I let you guys vote on if I was going to do the gold wash, and you all were like, yes, let's do that. And then I did it, and it was great. All right, so I need a little bit more ultramarine blue. Thank you guys. Nita and Caffeinated Tomato, thank you. Now, there's a few little, like, buildings and I think a radio tower on one of the more closer shoreline. Like, not the little tiny one right here, but the next one back. And there's some buildings that sit here. And I'm debating if I want to bring those in or not, because those are easily something I can cut out. We went for vibes, so vibes could be gold wash. Yes, vibes can be the gold wash. All right, so I'm desaturating my ultramarine blue with burnt umber, which gives me this navy. This is ultramarine blue. It's more like my shirt. So I'm going to desaturate it, mix it in with the color I have here. And then maybe add a little bit more white. We'll see. I'm trying to make my next one in the order, and I still have this color, so I don't want to waste it. I'm just going to add other stuff to it instead of making fresh, essentially. Did I swatch this? I did. You look the same. All right, more blue. That's more blue. Perfect. And I'm not going to steal all of my first layer of blue because I might need it. Like if I decide to do a little bit more with the snow, I don't want to lose it. Or I at very least want to have a swatch of it. So let's do that. I don't want to go too different because this one does blend in more than the others. They're not like a regular step from this color. Like this one is further back, so it's closer to the tones of Mount Fuji versus like the next closest one. So I think I'm gonna leave it where it's at, where it's just a tiny bit darker. barely noticeable darker. All right, so if I go over here, on the photo, this piece kind of runs right into this mountain. This is a lot darker than I think I want it to be. That's fun, I can always paint over it. Because this kind of feels like it should be maybe like this guy. Let's clean off my brush just a little bit. And pick up a lighter blue I have right here and see how I feel about that. Because this is too light. Can we even see that? Not really. Let's fix it. Sometimes you put things on your canvas and you're like, yeah, that's not it at all. It's one of the reasons I use a gray palette, because it helps you see the color a bit more true. It's not being skewed as much. Still too dark. Still too dark. It's like a fun game. Test the paint, too dark, test it again. It is more blue than the last layer. We're getting closer. Much closer. And I'm using some of my paint from last week, which is making it really chunky. It's almost kind of too dried out to paint with, but I'm kind of reviving it a little bit with the ultramarine blue because that is less dried out. And I don't want to mix anything into it because I want to keep it opaque. I think that's good. I do not like this brush, however, and I don't like the brush I was using, so we're switching brushes to this angle. I'll try this angle brush. And Dream says, have you ever painted a piece where you just mixed once without adjustment and painted whatever you ended up with? I mean, sometimes it flows a lot better than other times, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes everything is working perfectly and great, and it's all smooth sailing, and sometimes you fight with a piece. And you're like, come on, why aren't you the right blue? And that's today, but at least it's not, it's been worse. Like, this isn't that bad. It'd be a fun exercise. Yeah. All right, we've hidden that dark blue. Now I just need to make this hill actually sit in its right spot. I'm going back to the first brush. First brush is a bit stiffer, the bristles are, so I can push the paint around a little bit easier. Two, three, four. 1, 2, 3. Okay. That's good. Now my next thing is going to be to soften these together so that this one gets pushed back a little bit and this one will get pushed back even more. And it'll also soften these clouds some. And then we have, gosh, a handful of layers throughout here. And it's not as simple as it seems because there's just like hints of other layers in there. Love soft mountains. I had a dream I found a gray kitten last night. Gray's a pretty color for cat. If I had my choice and we didn't pick cats based on vibes, I want a gray cat. Like a solid gray, like a Russian blue look. Like outsider while looking at shelter photos. No, in person, like whatever cat you seem to click with, that's how we pick a cat. But if I could like magic a cat and be like, ah, I want one to like click with me and look like a Russian blue. Because none of our friends have like a cat that color. I think Frisk is the closest, and Frisk is like blue, or not blue, gray and white. But also like, I'd love another black cat. I very much loved having a black cat, and I would love to have a black cat again. You're not going to be dry anytime soon, are you? Oh, you're pretty dry. You feel like clay. I don't want to ruin that. Do I have any more coffee I can sip? I do. Have you gone to look, view, see cats yet? No, we're not going to look, view, see cats until we're ready. We also want to like have a litter box and dishes and things prepared. I was gonna say I could go grab that photo of Mel, but it's downstairs. I don't want this chair to break on me. One of the things I need to do today is I need to isolation coat a few paintings, apparently. Two? Two. Writer just says, oh, let me help Steven. He is getting the car looked at. Renee says, I forgot how nice having a girl kitty is. Jack is a sweetie, but Gwenny is a lover. I have never had a girl cat, and the only girl cat I've had, like, proper time with is Elspeth. And Elspeth is a diva. A sweet diva. What's wrong with the car? It needed an oil change, and when we were in Wisconsin, the dash kept popping up and saying something about the tire pressure monitoring system being something broken. Serviced, in need of service or something. And so he took it in and they said that one of the tires, the sensor, is dead. So that's what's getting fixed. And we noticed it was idling rough. So they looked at that apparently. Still feels like clay. There's a silica packet on the floor. These come in the back of the canvases, so sometimes I miss one and they drop out when I unwrap one. I want a cat with the same colors as Crookshanks in the Harry Potter series. I don't remember what color Crookshanks is. Orange? I've only also ever had short hair cats. I've never had a long hair cat, but I imagine it's a lot more work. And I also imagine, like, even though I've been doing allergy shots, it would make my allergies worse. Someone I know from a long time ago had a white cat with 2 different color eyes. I can't remember the cat's name, but it was a really pretty cat, and it was deaf. But it was a really pretty cat. Not too much. I have a long hair tuxedo. I know Bruiser is a lot of work, but Bruiser also was a rescue who had been outside. Yeah, white animals tend to lean towards deafness. It's very common in cats. Okay, I think I can do this now. Let's mix up my glaze. If I can open this tube. So zinc is a transparent white. Some people refer to it as a mixing white, but that's never been how my brain works with painting. Like, I think I tried to do it with one painting and I didn't love the look of it. I think if I switched over to it as a mixing white, like so when I'm lightening colors, I could figure it out, but it would be a learning process. And I don't think there's like a wrong way to paint, so I didn't really see a point in doing that. I was like, what I'm doing is working and I'm fine. All right, how transparent are you? Pretty transparent. I think the right level of transparent though. Did we nail that on the first try? I love it when that happens. Let's see. Actually, I don't think you can see it at all. I think it's too transparent. More titanium white. Can I even see that? Am I hallucinating that? Is it totally clear? I don't think so. So this will wash out these clouds a little bit, and that's fine. If I really want to brighten them up later, I can add more titanium white on top of them. we're trying to push everything back, and that's the goal here. And I ran out of my mix. Love that. Two transparents. If I was doing this on one of my white palettes, this would be impossible. You can't see it at all. Bristle. That was too much. But that pushed that back nicely. We can be okay with that. It's a little bit more faded here than it is over here in my photo. So I think I'm gonna let that dry and then just do another little bit of blending there. Rachel says, I can relate to the pain. I have a bad poker face. I can be too transparent sometimes. Oh, I'm terrible. I'm not the worst person when it comes to bluffing games, but I'm pretty bad. We played cockroach poker over Christmas, and my brother-in-law could not lie. And it's a bluffing game. So whenever he tried to bluff, we would just know he was lying. Or like he never bluffed, so you would just always call him on that. So that was always fun. I'm out of coffee and I didn't bring my water in. Is Steven still? Oh, he went to Costco. That's what he did. cockroach poker different from regular poker? Okay, so cockroach poker, let me cover this first while I'm waiting on the thing to dry. Cockroach poker is, there's 7 types of bugs. They're not all bugs because there's like a rat and a bat. And you have your whole hand and you have to play a card to someone else. And you can either lie about it or not lie about it. And you give them a card and you say, this is a cockroach. And they can say, yeah, I believe you. And then they flip it. And if it is a cockroach and they were right about it, then you get it back. Because you're trying to bluff and like get them to be wrong. So if you give them a card and you're like, this is a frog, and it's actually like a rat, and they're like, I believe you that it's a frog, and they flip it and it's a rat, then they have to keep it. Liar's Dice, but with cards. I don't remember how to play Liar's Dice. It's been so long. The goal is to not get 4 of the same card. So you don't want to end up with 4 of anything. And then whoever has 4 of something is out, and then the game is over, or the round is over. I did play one game where we did last person standing, and it was very difficult. It came down to my bike friend who cannot lie, and then someone who was very good at lying. And like he was trying to play a card on her, and so she had to call all of his. And so he'd be like, well, this is a rat. And she would be like, yes. And then like she needed to not get any cards. And she got like 6 in a row, and then the last one she lost. But it was very fun. It was very dramatic. We were trying to see how it would go if you did last person standing with a group. And the game is not balanced if you do that. You have to really just end it when one person gets out. But it was very fun. The version I have is Cockroach Poker Royal. So there's like this set of cards that are like a royal frog, a royal cockroach, a royal bat. And then you end up with extra cards if you get one of them. And I do like that version. I like that element to it. But I had a good time playing it, and it was a nice little card game to bring in for people who don't particularly like super difficult games. If you're tired of playing Uno, but like don't want to pull out, I don't know, Catan. Catan's too much for some people, I think. Or like Wingspan's a bit much for some people. Because they're like, no, I just want to play like Uno. Have I ever played a game, The Mind? I have not. A friend of mine just learned how to play Agricola, which we've had for a long time. And there's been multiple times that I've opened up the box and looked at the manual and been like, this is complicated. There's been times I've handed Chaz the manual and I've been like, hey, can you learn how to play this so we can play it? And he's like, this is a lot. But I know someone who just learned how to play it, and they're like, yeah, I'll teach you. They said it was very, very good. And when I first got it, it had a really good rating on Board Game Geek. So I've always wanted to play it. I just was always overwhelmed by the rules. The Mind is a light card game. You each get a number of cards, and the goal is to play all of them in order without communicating. It's a lot of fun. That sounds a little bit like Hanabi, but number cards instead of like the fireworks. Wait, you do have to communicate in Hanabi. You just can't know your own cards, and you have to play them in order without knowing your card. Hanabi-ish? Okay. Still tacky and not dry. I do want to do one more layer to soften this. I might mix up this color and then just kind of paint this and fade it that way. That might be what I do. but I need it to dry just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. There was a game I played one Christmas at my uncle's house. I think it's Pass the Pigs. You have a pair of pigs and you kind of treat them like dice and you roll them, and then based on how they land you get points. At some point I want to pick that up because that was very fun. Chris Elliam says, I'm looking at the rules for Agricola right now and I'm already kind of lost. There's like a bunch of these weird terms that are like, oh, if this is this, then you have this in play and something. I think Chaz and I tried to watch a video about it, and the guy was like talking, and we're like, no, this is too much. Never mind. I was also given a expansion for Catan recently, and I'm told it's, quote, the best expansion for Catan. So I want to play that too at some point. Andream says, oh my god, I had that pig game growing up. That took me straight back. I think it'd be a fun drinking game, to be honest. What's one of the things in Agricola? Rules. Which expansion? It's like a green teal color. Yeah, there's like multiple, okay, so in Agricola, there's like phases, and then there's a harvest after specific rounds, and then there's a harvest phases, but you can like, there's like all these actions. There was a lot. And then there's like, look at this. Shepherd's Pipe cannot be combined with Stable Master. Sleeping Corner can be used with either family growth actions. Like, there was so much. And then there's like variants. Seafarers? That sounds right. Let me look. Catan. Seafarers expansion. No, I want the box. I don't want the board. Maybe. I think it's Cities and Knights. That looks more right in my memory of what's sitting in my closet. I haven't played it, and I have not played an expansion except the like 5 to 6 player expansion. Yeah, I've only ever played the base, but then that expansion. Nothing that really changes things too much. Still wet. Did I leave a fingerprint in it? No. All right. We're gonna do this and just be super careful. And if I regret it, I can always just repaint it. That's the beauty of acrylic. That's not doing what I want at all. It's just picking it up. Okay, we're gonna leave it alone. This part over here is dry. Cat Kick says, I personally played City and Knights along with Seafarers. It's pretty enjoyable. All right. I think I just need to host a board game night or day on a weekend. God. About stopped my heart there. Hi, welcome back. Woo. Alright, we're gonna mix up another layer. Because I don't want to get only this done today. A tall man returneth. From getting the car looked at and from Costco. I need to get some of this paint out of these. There we go. Sometimes the paint dries along this and it's hard to close the tube. Did he finally get the Mods cookies? Didn't we get Mods cookies last year as a gift? I was very amused by my idea to do it. 2 years ago? Yes, for Extra Life Renee says. Ah, that's what I did. I did give them the choice. I was like, I have this idea for Extra Life. If you want like regular dinner for that, that's fine, but I have this idea if you're okay with it. It was kind of fun. A few of them do not live in the US, so I had to get creative with a solution. I was most proud of Radio Dreads because theirs was the most difficult, but it was very fun for me to do it. Fossix, you had, I think, the most unique cookies, because the place I found for you had, like, something wild, and that was unique, I think, with what I did. Even Maddie understood the joke. She was like, oh my god, did Steven get you cookies? Radiator says, why are you all even chatting? Aren't you like in the same room? Megfest moment, yeah. Alright, we're finally getting into some blue layers that are like way more blue. This is the last one that's like, I would put in this gray blue category. And I'm mixing up the version of the color before I start adding the white paint to it. And I keep going back and forth on like how blue I want it to be. I think I'm making it too blue because it's in the gray blue category. Oh my god, did you? What'd you bring me? Lemonade? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I give you this gift? Thank you.
Thank you. An empty coffee cup.
And I know.
Wow. It's got a spoon.
And nothing else in it.
And nothing else in it.
I know.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Renee says, wait, I wanted a treat. I'm sorry.
Renee says, every time Dieter goes to the store, he brings me a little treat.
Yeah.
Oh, I just threw away a silica packet. You want that?
Yeah.
You want a silica packet?
Yeah.
Don't eat that.
It tastes like death. Yeah. So
You went to Costco.
I fixed the car.
Yeah. I know you went to get the car
I took
fixed.
it to a place where they'll fix the car. Car's fixed.
Good.
I gave them
Money.
That's the whole thing with the goods and services currency thing. You gotta give them money before they'll do the thing.
I think this is too low. Uh-huh.
I offered to pay them in Costco lemonade, and they were like, "No, don't do that." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then I went to Costco to eat a hot dog,
Yes.
but I had already taken, like, whenever if I go to get the car fixed, they have like the little fridge.
Yeah.
So like, I drank coffee while I'm there. And then when they're like, your car's ready, I'm like, great. And then I just take a Coke out of the fridge because I'm like, I paid for this.
And then you went to Costco and had another Coke?
No, I didn't get a drink there. That's why I brought you a lemonade. Because
Okay.
I already had a drink.
I see.
So,
Did you get anything else at the Costco?
no.
Oh.
I was in and out of that Costco so fast, I didn't even eat the hot dog.
Who are
there.
you, Chaz?
I was faster than Chaz could ever hope to be.
Chaz, what say you?
I mean, you're not going to beat someone who goes straight to the food court, gets a hot dog, and walks out of the store. That's impossible to beat. That is the speed run. So, yeah, I ate the hot dog on the way, like, back to the car. And then I brought you that lemonade. So, just as I would never go to Costco just for that. So, well, I was passing it on my way home, and I was like, I'll swing in and spend $1.50. Cause like, calorie per dollar, it's just so good for that. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm gonna.
You want to do the dishes for me?
Yeah, I did.
Thank you.
Didn't I do them last night? Are
Yeah,
there more?
but remember there was a lot more?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do that.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for this gift.
Well, you're doing the dishes, so.
Oh, this is the payment for doing the dishes.
Well, you need it to do the dishes. The
I
empty
need this-
coffee cup.
I need this silica packet to do. Do you want this back?
I'm gonna throw it in the trash can.
Oh, I was gonna throw it in the trash can. It's wet because it was in my mouth, but it's fine. All right, bye.
Bye. No, he did not put it in his mouth. I ran out of the dark blue color. Shoot. I gotta mix more of the dark blue color. I don't want to. I just wanted to start painting it. But I suppose it lets me use up the rest of this ultramarine blue on the palette without it going to waste. I had the color I wanted, but I did not mix enough of it by a long shot. So now I have to mix more of it, and that's why I'm struggling. Can we finally get there? Do we finally have a dark enough blue-gray? So close. So very close. One more. Maybe a little bit more than that. I think I also mixed too much of the sienna into it, so it's less blue. Because we're trying to get more blue every subsequent foothill. Are you darker or grayer? It's hard to tell. Because it could be like the same darkness of color, but it could just be more gray. Or it could be the same, but just grayer and not darker. I think it's grayer. There's less blue to it. All right, I'm willing to paint this and see how it lands. All right, blue. So over here, we're gonna start pretty close to that. And right about here, we kind of get this hill. I don't know if it's the right height yet, but I wanted to block that in for myself mentally of where it needs to go. Maybe slightly pointier, but not like a point. And then right about here. Okay. Now I can fill all this in. Especially here, we get a lot of that. We can see this layer a lot, way down to the shoreline almost. And I don't want to have any regrets about not painting more of it. Oh no, what did I do here? That's been since I did the clouds today. Grab a little bit of white paint in a second and just paint over that. Mysterious something. Paint must have flicked and like landed over there. Ow. All right, this is dry now, so I can go back in and paint some of that. That's not light enough. There's some blue in that. We'll have to do that separate. Titanium. Just a little bit because it's too transparent. Trying to soften the transition between Mount Fuji and then the next layer, this line, just a little bit. There's a little bit of the underpainting sky tone showing through in here, this orange color, which I kind of like, but I think it's just too much. So I'm trying to push it back just a little bit. That's better. Hide that little bit of paint that I got in the clouds. I think this layer needs a mist too. They all kind of get it, except the very front two. And I think, you're a little wet yet. I think they're dry enough to do that with. Might be too wet to do this with. We'll see if you are too soft. You are shedding bristles like crazy though. Okay. you see how it softens it really quick and real easy? Like this part's not done, but this part is. No bristles. I'm considering if I want to do another layer of this, but I really want it to dry. Are you long enough? No. Trying to hide the orange. You're also not long enough. I want to hide the orange so I can see it, but I don't have anything that's working really well. That helps me visually separate it a little bit. This isn't where the next row goes. You can kind of see with the orange getting hidden, the colors. I do think I need to do another layer of the mist on this one. So after we do that, the next layer kind of comes down here and then sits up a little bit here. And then it kind of continues from up here and goes off down this way. Then we have the massive layer that sits here where it kind of peaks around here and kind of fades down this way. And then does like a severe drop here. And then we have just the tiny dark shoreline and then water. So let's see, 1, 2, 3 more layers of hills and the water. And then I have to decide if I want to do a gold wash and make this more gold, or if I want to leave it this cool tone for the bright white that we have it. That is where we are at. So next week I suspect I'll get all the land done, and I would love to get a wash on the water so it's not orange. But the water is so separate from the land that I don't have to really worry about letting layers dry because there's such a harsh divide between that where the water meets the shoreline. So that'll help it go faster then. But because these misty layers are taking a while, it's like, now I have to let it dry. Amber Laura says, seeing the progress on this piece has been fascinating. It's been fun to watch come together and watch little details really make parts of it stand out. Like putting these clouds in today is my new favorite part of this painting. I like the sky a lot. I like how I can see a little bit of the undertone painting come through. Like I can see some of this orange peeking through here. I can see a little bit down in some of these areas. The color scheme I'm very happy with. Making sure I painted the sides of the painting. The zinc was good. Yeah, the zinc helped a lot. I have paint I should cover for next week. That's it. I just have brushes to wash. We have a 34-month resub from Dishnet. Who says 34 months? That's a good number. We also have 6 months from Ember Laura. Thank you both. Yeah, the clouds are super wispy. They're very fun. I'm very happy with how they look. I didn't love them before, but adding in this layer helped these ones feel better. Like they kind of perpetuate the look in the painting, which is good. All right. Things that are coming up. Tonight, we are playing more Little Kitty Big City on Steven's channel. I'm looking forward to that. It's been fun and cute to play that and look around and explore and be a little kitty in a big city. We're getting started in the new year, which is really exciting. We have stuff coming up. Trying to think of like what specifically. Oh, I started Ghost of Yote. If you missed that on Monday, I played the beginning of that, and it's super pretty. And my chat was like, when are you gonna paint Mount Yote? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I want to go to Hokkaido and see it. Take photos like I took this. I had been just complaining to someone that was like, you know, I've been to Japan and every time I've seen Mount Fuji, it's been like shrouded in clouds and I've never gotten a good shot of it. And then we did. It's not as clear as I would have liked, I think, but it was still really pretty to see it like this shrouded. But Yote is fun. Yote is pretty. It is an M-rated game, so it's been a little violent, but I expected that knowing how Tsushima was. So there is that, but variable refresh rate is no longer in our memory. That's just how pretty Ghost of Yote is. Oh, variable refresh rate. Ruined a stream. It's fine. We got there eventually and we got to play it. Yote would be better with Mr. Oats. Yeah. He's still Mr. Oats in our hearts. Alright, tune in tonight for Little Kitty Big City. Monday night, Ghost of Yote. I think Steven is going to stream something on Friday. Sunday. He had been doing Hades runs. I think he might, I don't know. He'll say it tonight if he is. And next Friday morning, we'll continue this. I think we'll finish all the land on next Friday. That's going to be my goal, is to finish painting all the land. Get that done. Right? Check the calendar. Yes, that is the plan. I don't have anything else going on that day, so I can paint. More Hades, I think Zelda Master says. That's what I think. I think more Hades. He'll say it tonight, so you can tune in Sunday for, I assume, more Hades. Alright, everyone, I hope you have a good Friday. I'm gonna go get some stuff done, and I will see you tonight for Little Kitty Big City. Have a good rest of your afternoon.